Ramayana, Chapter 16, Storm and Calm, read by Nirvan Bajaj and Ekveer Bajaj. Chapter 16 of Ramayana, Storm and Calm. Ram went to Queen Kaushalya's dwellings. Many visitors were assembled there, eagerly awaiting the coronation. In the innermost apartment, the queen, clad in white silk, was before the sacrificial fire invoking blessings on her son. As soon as Ram entered, she embraced him and showed him who she thought was to become the Yuvraj to a specially raised seat. "Mother, this seat is now too high for me," said Ram. "I am a hermit and should sit on the grass spread on the floor. I have brought you news which may sadden you. Listen and give me your blessings." And then he told her briefly what had happened. "The king wishes to give the crown to Bharat. His command is that I should spend 14 years in the Dandak forest. I must leave today, mother. I come for your blessings before I go." When Kaushalya heard this, she fell on the ground like a plantain tree suddenly cut down. Lakshman and Ram gently raised her. She clung to Ram and cried,
"Is my heart made of stone or iron that I shall live?"
Lakshman could not bear the sight of the queen's grief. Angrily he spoke, "This old king has pronounced on Ram a doom that is reserved for the most wicked evildoers. What sin or crime has Ram committed? Not even his worst enemy could find any fault in Ram. The doting old man has lost his senses over his young wife and is not fit to be king anymore. How can a king listen to a woman and violate dharma? Even your enemies, oh Ram, when they look at you, begin to love you. But this dotard of a father sends you to the forest. Look here, brother. Let us together throw out this king and take charge of the kingdom ourselves. Who dare oppose us, I shall make an end of anyone who dares. Only give me leave and I shall do this single-handed. A young brother to become king and you to go to the forest? The world would laugh at the absurdity. Don't consent to this. I, at any rate, won't stand this. I shall put down all opposition and see that you rule the kingdom without let or hindrance. Never doubt, but I have strength to do it. Instead of the sun rising, a great darkness has descended upon this land this morning. For when we were expecting your coronation, the king sentences you to banishment. In the face of such injustice, there is no use being nice and polite. I cannot stand this. I must do my duty. Mother, now you will see the strength of my arm, and so you, brother." Lakshman's words were some solace to Kaushalya, but yet this strange talk of ousting the king and seizing the throne frightened her. She said,
"Ram, consider well what Lakshman says. Don't go to the forest. If you go away, how can I stay here all alone among enemies? I too shall go with you."
Ram had listened in silence to Lakshman's outburst, for it was wise to let the pent-up passion find outlet in words. Then turning to Kaushalya, he said, "Mother, let there be no talk of anyone going with me to the forest. It is your duty to stay here serving the king and sharing the sorrow that has come to him in his old age. How can the crowned queen of an emperor wander with me like a widow in the forest? This cannot be. I shall return after my term of forest life. It is my duty to fulfill my father's words. It is all the same to me whether it is just or unjust, spontaneous or extorted by force or fraud. If I fail in this primary duty, I can gain no satisfaction or good name through any amount of wealth or power. Lakshman, your proposals are quite wrong. I know your great strength and I have no doubt that you can vanquish and destroy all opponents and secure for me the kingdom. I know also your affection for me. But the way in which you propose to use it is not worthy of the dynasty to which we belong. Our highest duty is to fulfill our father's words. If we fail in that, no other achievement can make up for it." Ram tried to console both his mother and his brother, but Lakshman's anger could not be easily put down. Perhaps it could have been if he himself, not Ram, were the sufferer. But it was Ram who was the victim of this cruel injustice, and so Lakshman writhed in anger like a wounded cobra. Ram took him apart, made him sit down, and tried to calm him. "Consider our father's condition. Our hearts should go out to him in sympathy, for he is stricken with a great sorrow. Whatever be the reason, he gave a promise, and if he should break it, he would be committing a shameful sin which would besmirch and blot out all the great and glorious deeds. He is heartbroken at the wrong he feels he has done me. But I do not feel it a wrong at all, for a king must keep his word and a son must obey his father. You should show that you are too free from any sense of injury. Only so we can bring him mental relief. He gave us the life that we hold, and we should give him the peace of mind. He is afraid about the other world. We should free him from this fear. So far, we have never given a cause for sorrow or dissatisfaction. Now we have become the cause of a great fear in his mind about what is to happen to him in the other world. We can easily relieve him. Instead of doing this, are we to add to his troubles? For this reason, my mind has altogether turned away from the coronation and is intent on the journey to the forest. And we should not be angry with Kaikai either. Has she not been kind to us all these years? That she suddenly conceived this idea is surely the working of fate. We should not blame her for it. Or one proposes something and fate decides otherwise. In this, Kaikai is just a passive instrument in the hand of fate. Our little mother will have to bear the grievous burden of the world's blame, but our love for her should remain the same as ever. If, before this, there had been evil in her thought, her conduct which had been shown it, there is no doubt that some higher force has made her suddenly and harshly say, Ram, go to the forest. Otherwise, how could such a high-minded woman, who so far looked upon us as our own children, now behave so brazenly before her husband? Who can oppose destiny? Even steadfast sages have swerved suddenly from their tapasyas. How can poor Kaikai hope to resist fate? So Ram revealed to his brother his inmost thoughts. In these passages, Valmiki uses the word Deva. In Sanskrit literature, Deva means fate. Devam, Dishtam, Bhagyam, Niyati, and Vidhi are all words conveying the idea of something unexpected and inexplicable. Because of the belief in the god as the prime cause, a natural confusion arises between the fate and God's will. What Ram said to Lakshman on the present occasion does not mean that he thought that the gods contrived Kaikai's action for their own benefit. Ram offered no than the usual consolation. It is the work of fate. Do not grieve. No one is to blame for this. In Kamba Ramayana, also addressing his brother raging like the fire of dissolution, Ram says, It is not the river's fault that the bed is dry. Even so, my going hence is not the king's fault, nor Queen Kaikai's, nor her sons. The wrong is the work of fate. Why should one be angry then? This explanation calmed Lakshman for a while, but soon his anger boiled up again. He said, Very well then, this is the work of fate. Fate, I grant, is the cause of our stepmother's sudden folly, and I am not angry with her. But are we, on that account, to sit still and do nothing? It is Kshatriya Dharma to overcome evil and establish justice. A hero does not bow down before fate. Having announced Ram's coronation by beat of drum, the town and country, the treacherous king invokes some all-forgotten boon and orders you to the forest. Is it manly to call the fate and obey it weakly? Only cowards go down under fate. Heroes should oppose and vanquish it. I am no weakling to yield to fate. You will see today the might of a hero matched against fate. I shall tame the mad elephant fate and make it serve me. Ram gently pacified Lakshman's rage which was flaming up into a conflagration. As long as our parents are alive, said Ram, it is our duty to obey them. I cannot dream of disobeying my father. It is our prime duty to do his biddings and enable him to fulfill his pledge. What joy is there in getting a kingship after insulting our parents and slaying Bharat, the embodiment of dharma? And he wiped with his hands the tears from Lakshman's eyes. When Ram did this, Lakshman grew calm, for the affectionate magic of Ram's hands could work wonders. Stay tuned for chapter 17, Sita's Resolve. Please subscribe to the channel, like, share and comment on this video. Thank you and Namaste.